Okay,
Okay, we're live.
we're good?
Yep.
Good morning. My name is Don Popo and I am your chairman today. I'd like to introduce our committee. Councillor Barry Boyce, Councillor Ward 5, Mr. Jerry Walker, and Chris Bishop. And we have Adam Mayer, who's the Deputy Secretary Treasurer of the Committee of Adjustment. And we have the Director of Planning, Mr. Jeff Isles. So you've got a pretty good representation here today. This Committee of Adjustment meeting for April the 10th, 2024 will now come to order. A notice to all those in attendance that this meeting will be streamed on YouTube and recorded. Please note the recording will be linked to the municipal website following the meeting. This is a public hearing to consider 3 applications for a minor variance to the municipality zoning bylaw. It's the committee's responsibility to consider all information received to date regarding the requested variance and to hear and consider any comments or questions provided by these applications. Any variances granted by the committee must meet 4 tests, which are very clearly defined in the Planning Act. They must be minor in nature, must be desirable for the proper development of the land, comply with the general intent of the official plan, and comply with the general intent of the zoning bylaw. Please note that if anyone wishes to be notified of the decision, please make a request in writing to the municipality. Does any committee member wish to declare a conflict of interest with any of these applications? Be recorded as no. Any oral or written submissions received in advance of the meeting will be verbally read aloud at the time the application is considered. All persons who have pre-registered will have an opportunity to present or ask questions about the proposals, and please direct all questions and comments to the chair. Each registered person will have up to 5 minutes to provide comments or ask questions. Once finished speaking, the meeting host will mute your microphone. Just go like that. Please state your name in relation to the application prior to speaking. And we're going to start off with I need a mover and a seconder to adopt the minutes from the meeting of March 13th. Moved by Barry Boyce. Seconded by Gerald Walker. Be resolved as it moved and seconded that be resolved the minutes for the Committee of Adjustment meeting on March the 13th, 2024 be adopted. All in favor? That's carried.
Send the minutes for the site inspection.
Okay, we also need a mover and a seconder for the site visit that we did on the 19th. Chris Bishop. Second, Joe. Moved and seconded by Chris Bishop and seconded by Gerald Walker that be it resolved the meeting for the March 19th, 2024 site inspection be adopted. Carried. Okay,
First application.
that's the first one. Here we go. So this is Lori Powell. Nice to have you here on a bright night, sunny day. Maybe you could just give us a quick synopsis of what you're asking for, and I'm sure we'll have questions back and forth, and we'll see where we can end up.
Okay, basically, we are applying to build a shed behind the cottage, which is closer to the road than what we're allowed. This shed will be to store, I don't know, four-wheelers.
See any sideline variance?
Yes,
Yeah. And the street setback,
yes.
right? Any questions? Carol?
Just a comment. I think this is when I read that, that's on Curry Drive and you own property across the road, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so the lot gets cut in half.
Yeah.
But that, I don't have any problem with it.
Care to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we grant the variance as has been presented.
Don, can I read aloud the conditions?
Hmm?
Can I read the conditions?
Yeah, well, before we vote, we'll hear the conditions they've had.
So this is a returning file. It was deferred at the February 8th, 2024 meeting. Should the committee decide to grant the requested variances, the following conditions would be appropriate. These variances apply to a shed as shown generally on property sketch dated December 1st, 2022 and attached to the decision. Any encroachment beyond the variance granted herein will require a further application for a minor variance. 2, the County of Haliburton shoreline tree preservation bylaw 3505 applies. The injuring or destruction of trees within 30 meters of the high water mark is not permitted. The exemptions noted in section 3 of bylaw 3505 apply. Furthermore, staff strongly recommend that additional native shoreline planting is encouraged to screen the building's naturalized shoreline and address environmental concerns. 3, during construction, proper site preparation and construction methods are to be used to prevent sedimentation of the adjacent lake. Sediment fencing is to be installed down gradient from the construction site. The site is to be properly stabilized immediately following construction to prevent erosion and sedimentation. 4, prior to the pouring of footings, the applicant must submit confirmation from an Ontario land surveyor that the shed meets the granted exterior side lot line setback and granted street setback. 5, prior to the pouring of footings, the shelter logic is to be removed.
You okay with that?
Yes, I am.
Can I have a seconder for that motion, Mary? Be it resolved that the committee's decision with respect to file D13 MV 2022-011 be recorded as follows. The variance to section 5.2 to permit a shed to have a minimum exterior sideline lot line setback of 3 meters or 10 feet as opposed to the required minimum of 7.5 meters or 24.6 feet. It's granted. Carried. Variance to section 3.30 to permit a shed to have a minimum street setback of 8.5 meters or 28 feet as opposed to required minimum of 17.5 meters or 57.4 feet. It's granted. Carried. You're good to go.
Perfect. Am I emailed this then?
There is there's an appeal period of 20 days, so
Right.
just don't do anything for 20 days.
I'll contact you via email. I'll send you the decision and then in 20 days, I'll send you the final if there's no
Awesome.
appeals.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem.
Perfect.
Just wait, I gotta get them on Zoom. Steve, I'm gonna bring you forward.
Davis.
Yep.
See
He's
up here?
doing, yep, via Zoom.
John there?
Yep. Steve, can you hear us? Can you unmute your mic and do your camera?
It's modern technology.
Yeah, we're just waiting for him to unmute his mic and his camera. Yep.
Why is it not? I got my mic unmuted here and now I can't start the video for some reason.
Yep, we can hear you.
Not really sure what's going on here with the video.
Yeah, are you guys good with just the voice?
We don't have to see him, we just need to hear him.
Yep. Yep, so we can.
This
hear
isn't
you.
these things aren't my strong suit.
You want to start, Don? Go ahead.
So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 variances requested on this particular application. Can you give us a quick synopsis of where you're at as far as what we're looking for here? can't-
Just
Can't
as,
see you, but we can hear you.
okay, so just as you guys seen when you were out there, where I want to put the retaining wall and for the frost protection and whatnot, that's just where we're at with the minor variances. And as I said in the previous meeting prior, I didn't know I needed more for the private cabin, which I was not aware of.
Has there been any communication on any of these requests or any on this file?
We did receive comments from the Public Works Department and they have no concerns. And following that site inspection, staff have no concerns with the requested variances.
Site visit, we all agreed.
Yeah, yeah, everything looked fine to all of us, I think, so I think we'll just go ahead. I'll make a mo.
You make a motion?
Should I read the conditions?
Yeah.
Sorry,
So should the committee decide to grant the requested variances, the following conditions would be appropriate. This variance applies to a two-story garage / private cabin as shown generally on the property sketch dated February 12th, 2024, and attached to the decision. Any encroachment beyond the variance granted herein will require a further application for a minor variance. During construction, proper site preparation and construction methods are to be used to prevent sedimentation of the adjacent stream. Sediment fencing is to be installed down gradient from the construction site. The site is to be properly stabilized immediately following construction to prevent erosion and sedimentation. Prior to the pouring of footings, the applicants must submit confirmation from an Ontario land surveyor that the two-story garage / private cabin complies with the exterior side lot line setback, street setback, and lot coverage as granted by the committee. Prior to the pouring of footings, the two sheds shall be removed or brought into compliance with the zoning bylaw. And lastly, the applicant shall implement and or maintain a planting strip to screen the two-story garage / private cabin from Jasmine Road.
as long as, I'll make a motion that we accept all of them, if, as long, are you happy with those conditions? Steve?
Yes, the one shed, the small one will be removed and then, the other one I can move to where it meets setbacks. It's not a problem.
Yeah, I think you just have to move it because it's in that exterior side lot line setback and street setback, kind of like how your
Yep.
garage be in, so you just gotta move it over.
Yep, no problem at all.
Okay, I need a seconder for the motion. Harold Warner. This is as everybody knows, this is a site, the results of the site visit that we went to on a week or so ago, So it's moved and seconded that the committee's decision with respect to file D13 MV 2024-002 be recorded as follows. A variance to section 3.1 to permit a private cabin to have a minimum exterior side lot line setback of 1 meter or 3.2 feet, as opposed to the required minimum of 7.5 meters or 24.6 feet. Granted. Variance to section 3 to permit a two-story accessory building to have a minimum exterior side lot line setback of 1 meter or 3.2 feet, as opposed to required minimum of 7.5 meters or 24.6 feet. Granted. Variance to section 3.30 to permit a two-story accessory building to have a minimum street setback of 12.4 meters or 41 feet from the center of Jasmine Road, as opposed to required minimum of 16.4 meters or 54 feet, is granted by minor variance D13 MV 2022-10. Granted. Variance to section 3.30 to permit a private cabin to have a minimum street setback of 12.4 meters or 41 feet from the center of Jasmine Road, as opposed to required minimum of 17.5 meters or 57.4 feet. It's granted. The variance to section 5.2 to permit a maximum lot coverage of 15.2% as opposed to permitted maximum of 15%. Granted. Variance to section 3.27 to permit a structure to be located within a site triangle is granted. Is that correct, Jeff? Yeah. Carried. We're good to go. Are you still hooked up, Steve?
I am. Thank you very much, guys.
There is an appeal period of 20 days, which I suggest you don't do anything super duper before that timeline was up, okay?
No problem at all. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys, for the site visit.
What do you think?
Thank you.
You're good? Okay. Thank you very much. And now we come to the Gordon family.
Okay.
Kind of think that this would be a good day for her to be here because I don't think we have a big problem with anything you're asking for. Any questions with respect to this particular variance?
Can I read the conditions? If you don't want to discuss.
You got any conditions?
So notice of the minor variance was circulated as required by regulation on March 26, 2024. As of the date, no comments have been received. Should the committee decide to grant the requested variance, the following conditions would be appropriate. This variance applies to the attached garage / additional dwelling unit as shown generally on the property sketch dated February 21st, 2024 and attached to the decision. Any encroachment beyond the variance granted herein will require a further application for minor variance. 2, prior to the pouring of footings, the applicants must submit confirmation from an Ontario land surveyor that the attached garage and additional dwelling unit complies with the rear lot line setback and as granted by the committee. 3, the applicant shall implement and or maintain a planting strip along the rear lot line to screen the additional dwelling unit.
I need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Gerald Walker.
Is there an existing vegetation buffer like along the lot line?
Can you hit the mic? Sorry.
There's an old fence, there's a pool behind us that's 20 feet in the air. And there's an old fence that's falling down and there's some larger trees, but really it is probably a 20-foot hill.
Yeah, and the way the condition's worded, so if there's some sort of vegetation buffer already existing, you
Yeah.
just have to maintain it. If there's nothing there, then you should plant something just to provide some privacy for your, whoever's gonna be the tenant that will be renting out that unit.
Okay,
So if something's there, you should be good.
thank you.
All set? You second that, Chris? Be resolved, the committee's decision with respect to file D 13 MV 2024-004 be recorded as follows. The variance to section 5.2 to permit an attached garage / additional dwelling unit to have a minimum rear lot line setback of 6.8 meters or 22.3 feet as opposed to required minimum of 7.5 meters or 24.6 feet. Carried? That didn't hurt at all. There is an appeal period, so before you do anything, you never know who might want to dig something up, but thank you for coming. There you go. Moved by Chris Bishop and seconded by Barry Boyce. That the be resolved the meeting now be adjourned at 11:20 a.m. Carried?